Hello everyone, so MP again. So in last video we were trying to read the values from the database and as well as from the user interface from data grid. So I think in last video we have done reading with the data grid view, and we can able to read all the values. So now the next step is we have to read the values from the database. So let's start that, what we can do with that. Okay, so here I already made the connection string, and now we have the data table method which is taking the which is returning the data table, and it need the SQL query and connection string. So we already made that SQL query which is giving like select star from category, which is very simple, and it will return all these values. So let's start it. So here we can call that function before we are going into data grid functions. We can say like reading data grid, and here we are ending this. Okay, so grid reading. Here what we gonna do, we will call that function my function dot win table. So this is taking, oh no, it's data table. It is get data table method. It's not that one. Get data table method. So we have to pass here SQL query, so which is this one, and then we have to, oh I'm sorry, this is not the SQL query, that is the connection string. So here we have to pass that SQL query which we wrote here, select star from categories. Alright, so looks good to me, and this we gonna check it in a variable, because this is, it will return the data table, so I'm just writing it as a dt, and now we can put a breakpoint here to see if it's coming up correctly. So let's go to your test explorer and debug the test. It is loading some symbols. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna just go back into the data table and watch out like how many column it has in the database, and here we go. So it is going there. Oh, what it's doing, object clone helper cs not found. What is that now? Okay guys, so let's not debug it and just directly come here where we can put the, I don't know what is that, but I think something is not right with the debugging, or we can just say rows dot count we can get the row count of that data table when it will read, and count what it's saying. Does not contain the definition of count, so extension method count accepting the first argument collection could not be found. Okay, so we need here this one using system.data. Do we have here? No, not yet. Alright, let's put it that. So still we don't have that data rows. Okay, here we can give a row 1 dot okay, got it. So in this dt we need to find the table, I guess. Table name or index is maybe 1 dot. Do we need dot? Alright, just guys, I figured out like my connection string was wrong, so I just corrected my password and all that. So make sure you have a correct information in your correct connection string, so which is very important to read the database. So that in my case that was the problem. But yeah, I copied this lane from here to here because we just want to see like how it works, because we don't need to go into that much steps to get to read the database. We can just do it in the beginning. So let's run it. And I hope it will work now. Alright, so if you go to here, hover, and then you can see the default view, then you will see like, okay, it is getting all the information from the database. So now what we have to do, we have to read it line by line, and then we will just compare against that the data table. Alright, so now we have to get the values from this data table. What we gonna do, we can say dt. So firstly we can declare it as a string, and we will give this name, it's a cat id and cat name. So what we can call it as db database cat id equals to dt dot rows. So here we can give the index of the row. So in grid view the indexes are different. We have to see like, because it's a 0 row and column 1, right? So here the indexes are different in the database. So it always start from row indexes always start from 0, and similarly we can give the column index, and which is you can see the argument, it's a data column and column index, so it also start from 0. And this we gonna go to toString, because it's we are storing into the string, so we have to give a string value anyways. So the second value we can give db dot cat name equals, we're gonna copy the same thing, so the row remains same but column will change, so it can be 1. Alright guys, so let's put a breakpoint here just to check out is it working or not. We can just debug it. Alright, so it hit and it says 5 is the cat ID and DB cat name is like 6H something. So we can say here 5 and 6H TCG whatever. So it's getting the values from the data table, from the database. Alright, so now what we have to make a logic, like firstly we gonna get the first value from the data table and then we gonna loop through and compare all the cells. So wherever it found in the data grid view, we will just break that loop. So in order to do that, we have to run another loop. So let's do that. So now we have to move this because we don't want to loop all the steps which we already done. So we can start from here, just copy your code here and here let's not to show this in the database, we can just get it string, and this is grid view values, right? So grid view cat ID equals, and then similarly here we can say gv underscore cat name equals to, so we can delete now this one. And what happened now? Oh, this we didn't design. Okay. Alright, so look like it's working. So guys, now we have to get the count of the data table. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take an integer type and then we can say db count equals to data table name dot rows dot count. Alright, so now we have the count. Let's put a breaking point and see if that is valid. So for now I'm just making this as commented because I don't want to run the software now, because we are just have to interact with the database. Eventually I'll enable it, but for now, okay, so it is 4, so the count is correct. So the count is 4. Alright, so looks good. So now we have to make a loop. So let's make a for loop here. For loop, so loop should start from 0, which is right, and it should end where the database count ends. So now it should be equals less than equal to db count, so it will be up to 4, and we need to cut and paste these value under this, because every time it will change. So when the first time this loop will run, it's giving, here we have to change this to or let's change the I, because we can't use like I at the same time on both places. So let's use it as a CNT. Usually it automatically do that. Okay, so now it automatically do that, and here we're gonna pass CNT, and then so that in, so this is like 0, and we also have to change that. So we can define this here, our integer column equals to 0 in the beginning, and here we can say column 0, and this is going to be increased, so we can say column plus 1. So first time it will be 2, oh sorry 1, and then it will be keep increasing like 1 2 1 2. Oh, I'm sorry guys, I think we don't need to increase the column because it is like fixed. We are just running 2 columns, so eventually when we will have more column, then we have to do the increment on the columns. So let's put it like 0, and let's make it as a 1. So this will be fixed. So when the rows change, so it will be the first row, first column, and in the second loop it is like first row and second, the column will be same, if you can see. So what it will do, in the first time it iterates like with the loop, it is giving a 0 row, and first column is fixed, second column is fixed, which is like 0 and 1. In the second iteration the column will be same, so we don't need to change the columns. So now we have to expand this loop. Let's delete this and put this loop. So this loop will run under this loop. So this loop is data grid view loop, is inside the our database values. So now we have these database values. Alright, let me make it correct. So now we have this database values, and we can compare against it. So what the first thing we have to do, we have to see like if the count is equals or not. So because if the count of the database values and the data grid view values are not equal, then there is no point of comparing the values inside. So we can just simply says in our logs like database count and user interface count is not correct, so please check it, maybe something is wrong there. So this is the benefit of the automation. So firstly we can check one condition, and after that we can check another condition. So let's get back to the code. So now what we have to do, we have to check the count, and where we gonna do that, we can just simply do that here. Just compare database count with UI count. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we can just put this in a if else statement. So if database count is equal to TP row count. My bears double. So if this is equal, then we can say in our function where we wrote in the function, let's copy from there, custom okay, we can wrote here in our function file path here we have to pass our my path instead of file path. Okay, so can say the count of database, and we can also pass the parameter here like database count of database plus db equal to count of database count, and then we can say like grid view count plus gv. Let's copy this count is not equal. Alright, so this is very simple. And then if like it is equal, is matching, so yeah, so else if that is not happened, then we can say my bad, so then we can say is not matching. So in that way we will have this count as well. So if it's not matching, then what we can do, we can just exit so then we can just exit the loop. Okay, so this will exit the for loop, which is our first loop, and we will have only this error. Then we don't need to go into. So if this happened, then we will proceed further and we will compare the values. So guys, now we have all the values, and here we can put the if statement where we have GT value. If GT category is equals to db cat id, then we can say okay, then we can say our let's do in the same way, so it will look more better and it's having like more explanation itself in the logs. So we can say here grid view value, this one is matching with database value this one. So we can remove this code here. Okay, and another thing what we have to do, so guys, let's not do that here. We have to do that at the same time. Okay, because I'll tell you why. So here we can say compare the values, and here we can, okay, so first is like we are matching the categories, and if that is not happening, or else what we gonna write, we can write like, okay, this is not matching with database value. Okay, so firstly we're gonna compare the category, and then if that is successful, we're gonna compare the other value, which is category name. I'll tell you why. So if like one is like not passing, one is not comparable, or there is no point to compare the another one, so we will just throw out this message like it is not working. So that's why I'm putting this in a one condition, and then I'll put it in a that one in another condition. Okay, so if it will not equal, then simply it will go to else statement and just throw this error. So if this one is not matching, there is no point of like comparing once again for the category name, because both are like, you know, both are having like some relationship between them, because category 5 is belongs to this category. You can't say like this is matching with the database value and this is matching with the database value. It should be equally comparable at the same time. Okay, so gv category name equal to db category name, and if this one is matching, so simply we will be happy and we will say the gv category name equals to matching with the database value gv category name. Okay, it's a db, sorry. So if this one is not matching, then we will go to else statement. So in the else statement we're gonna write the same thing, is not matching. Okay, and here another thing what we have to do, so if this is a match, right, if this one is matching, so see logically, so if category id is matching, and then we are going into this loop, and then we are comparing it with this loop. If like this one is not matching, then we have to go to else loop. We're gonna write this one, or we're gonna loop through again because it is not happening. So in the first successful session, if this one is matching, then we're gonna go to category name, and if we got a match, then we will exit the for loop because we found our match. So so what logically I'm doing, okay, let me show you. So logically I am firstly having these values, then I am comparing it against all the values, because we don't know if the sorting order is correct or not. If this one is sorted like another way, like this, in this way it will also work. In this way the game is changed because the sorting order is changed. So firstly it will go here and then it will try to compare with the database. It will not find because here the values are different. So then that's why we have to loop through all the statements, and whenever we found our, suppose that if we found our match in the second position, we're gonna exit the loop. So that's why I put that function there. So again guys, so to do this there can be 1,000 ways of doing that. Maybe I'm not doing in a best way, but this is the way I'm doing for myself. So I hope like it will work and you guys will like it. So anyways, like let's enable it and let's run this. We're gonna do the build the solution. All right, okay guys, so it's time for running, and let's quickly review the code, and looks good to me. All right, so these values we can also give like any, like so that it will look nicer when it will appear in the logs, just to, you know, little customizing. Okay, so right now I'm just doing like this. My bad, here we don't need it. Need it here, 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 and then here, here, here we can put. Okay, so looks good. Okay, so let's make it a release build solution. All right, so let's run this from our batch file. So double click, so launching the software. All right, it's going there. So now this is kind of internal processing it is doing. All right, so it finished. We can close it. Now we can go to our result file. In this one we have to go to automation report, and we will see, like, see home page successfully open. Yes, we have to see why it is coming twice, but manage category successfully, count of database 4 is matching with the count, grid view 5 is matching with the database value, this matching is the database with this. So you can customize your code as well. Oh, why it is saying 5 is not matching with the 6? So this we have to see. 5 is not matching with the 6. Okay, so we have to see why it is doing that, and why it is going there where it's not, the values are not matching. So we have to debug it. That's another problem. All right guys, the video is getting long, but yeah, but to explain this one. I wanted to explain you with very detailed information so that you can understand that why we are doing that. Okay, so let's quickly put a breakpoint here, go into debug mode, and then we can debug the application. So it is launching the application, or it is going to this point. Now it is having 5 and 6. Okay, cool. Now it is going to database count is matching. Okay, DB count. Oh, it is getting the count. Okay, 4 count 4 is matching. Okay, so it is going inside and saying the count is matching. Oh, what is happening this one now? Oh, something is wrong, guys. So my debugging is somehow is not responding very good way. All right, let me see that. Okay guys, now I know like what is the problem. So what is happening here, so if you see our logs, so what it's saying, like the 5 is not matching with the database value. So this is normal because so every time when we iterate through, second time, when it's not matching, so what we have to do, the solution for this one, we should disable this one. Okay, so category name should be always match. If not matching, that's so in the exit. Okay, so we need another function now. It's we can't say it's not matching because that's not right. So what we have to do here, oh sorry, if in else, so else, okay, so we have to make a flag here. Oh, in the for loop. Okay, so just make a flag here. It can be integer. Okay, integer flag equal to 0. Okay, so whenever it is going to pass, we will count it as flag equals to flag plus 1. And similarly, we also have to see here if this one is matching, then we will say flag equal to flag plus 1. Okay, so here in the else we are not doing anything, so we're gonna comment it out, the else code. And what will happen, the flag, it will count like 8 because one for the cat name and other is for the cat name. And here in the other function we will say at the last after this loop. So db count this loop. So after this we'll say if flag is equal to db count or equal to gv what is the name of that, gv row count, grid view row count. Oh, because it's not coming up. So anyways, like this should be fine. So if the flag is not equals to db will be 4, and if let's, because we are doing it twice, so we will just say into 2. So the flag is not equals to twice as the database count, then we can say anything like the result is not matching. Result is not matching, and if it's pass, sorry, in this case we say result is matching, and in other case we're gonna say result is not matching. All right, so so what is happening, let me tell you logically. It's a little complicated. Okay, so see, so when it will try this one, it will take the values from the database, which is 5 first row, and when it will go in the first loop, it compares this one. Now we are going to the second row, but this loop is started from the first loop, so this loop always reset because we have to compare with all. So when it goes at the first row, these values are not matching with this one. So at that point it is saying like, oh, this one is not matching with this one. So ultimately it's a wrong information, because we know that we are comparing with all the values. So in the second row it is matching, so then it exits. So similarly when it goes to the third row, it have to match from the first and second, then third. So that's why our logs were not work the way we programmed it. So now it should work. So let's close this software and make this a release, rebuild the solution. Okay, so we rebuild it. And here we're gonna run it. Hopefully what happened now? Oh my god, it's not finishing it up. Okay guys, so I just ran it and I got this error. It says like system index out of range exception, there is no row at position 4, so which is right actually. So our database count is 4, but it started from 0. So that's why I think we should run this less than database count, so which will be up to 3. So now let's build the solution, and I hope this time it will work. Oh. Let's run from here and see what is the problem. Oh my god, the video is so long. It's 45 minutes. Okay, so look like something. Oh wow, it's running. So I don't know why it's not picking up from the bash file, but anyways, let's go to the report, go to see automation report and see the last one which we ran. Okay, the home page is successfully open. This is matching. So yeah, that one we also have to limit, because every time it is checking the count, which is bad actually. At the end it says result is matching. So this is running successfully. I hope it will help you to compare the data grid with the database. And okay, so what we have to change here, the last change which I want to do. So here we don't have to say like database count view is matching. We will only interested in the count when it is not matching. So when it will not matching, then anyway it will throw up this in the log. It will write that in the log, and we will know like, okay, something is bad there. So similarly, if the flags are not matching with the database count twice, so we're gonna know like, okay, something is not good. So then we can dig down in our test, we have to check it. Alright guys, so I hope you will like the video. I hope it will gives you little information, and thank you very much for watching this long video. Thank you very much. Bye bye.